We hear the phrase fix belly bloat a lot in the health space these days, but trying to quote unquote fix a belly that may appear to be bloated can actually do more harm than good. In this video, we'll talk about the 4 underlying reasons why the body might be expressing belly fat or belly bloat, and the specific cases when we might need to intervene and what to do in those cases, as well as those cases where doing nothing and simply embracing our body exactly the way that it's showing up, even with the seeming belly bloat, is actually the best way to optimize our health. I'm Karina, and welcome to my channel where we discuss practical ways to elevate our wellness from a mind, body, soul perspective. Belly bloat or belly fat, often used interchangeably in the popular health space, is an issue that's top of mind for a lot of people, and that's totally understandable because we want to look good and feel confident in our bodies. And if we don't feel that way, it's a signal that we may need to pay attention to the way that we're treating our bodies. But that doesn't mean rushing to find a quick solution to try to quote unquote fix the surface level appearance of something. When we try to fix something about ourselves for aesthetic purposes, we're going about it backwards. And I get it, we want to look our best. But when we're prioritizing looking good over our own health and well-being, that's when things start to go haywire. When we see belly fat and we do things like go on extreme diets or suck in our stomach, or even indiscriminately load up on random pro and prebiotics without really understanding our body's unique microbiome and what it needs, that's when we can actually end up doing more harm than good. I can honestly say that the moment that I let go of any concern over how my body looked aesthetically, and instead I began to prioritize my body's well-being, that is when, ironically enough, my body started to look the way that I had originally desired it to. So now I don't concern myself with the way that my body looks according to certain societal standards. Instead, I ask myself the important questions of, am I healthy? Are my biomarkers looking good? Am I feeling at peace and calm in my mind and body? These are the important questions to me, and everything else is secondary. So for those of you who are concerned with belly bloat and belly fat, I encourage you to come from this viewpoint of seeing this as a valuable source of feedback to see what it is that needs to be addressed about your health, rather than trying to hide or get rid of the seeming problem in order to look good. Because ultimately what we truly want is to feel good and confident in our bodies. And even if we shamed ourselves and punished ourselves into having the perfect body, the perfect frame, we still wouldn't feel great about our bodies, because that's not the source of our confidence. The source of feeling good and feeling confident in our bodies is taking care of our health and well-being. And when you come from that perspective of prioritizing your health above all else, that's when you naturally start to become curious about the root causes of this surface level symptom. So let's get into the 4 most common underlying root causes of belly bloat and belly fat, and what our approach should be for each one. So number 1 is that what may appear to be belly bloat is actually just a postural misalignment. Oftentimes we'll have dysregulated breathing patterns that are affecting the way that our spine supports itself against gravity. And a super common postural pattern is to be stuck at the top of an inhale, where our ribs are flaring out and the stomach seems to push out, making it seem like it's bloated. But if we take the time to exhale fully so that the ribs stack over the hips, we can see that that seeming belly bloat begins to disappear. We never actually had it in the first place. And the added benefit of practicing exhaling completely is that it also regulates your nervous system. It helps you to have a calmer mind, and it helps to regulate your stress hormones like cortisol, which is also one of those downstream causes of the tendency to accumulate fat around the middle. And as you're regulating your stress hormones by changing your breathing patterns, then you start to influence the way that your hormones function as well. And number 2 is that there may be some visceral fat. Visceral fat is the fat that surrounds your organs, including your liver, and it's often caused by overeating refined carbs, sugar, and potentially alcohol. The best way to assess the level of visceral fat that you have is to get a DEXA scan, which takes into account the fat distribution in your body. But if you don't want to shell out for a DEXA scan, it can be around $100 to $150 for one. Then everyone can benefit by honestly reassessing their diet and seeing how much refined carbs and sugar they're consuming. And this can be really sneaky because you could be eating a clean diet throughout the day, and then at night, you might just put away half a pint of ice cream without even realizing it. And there's no judgment. We're all prone to this, but this is an opportunity to really honestly assess your intake. And then once you've done that, then you want to be asking yourself, in order to release these carb cravings, you might ask whether you're consuming an adequate amount of calories throughout the day. So if you're moderately active, then 1,500 calories, for example, might be too little. The Mifflin-St. Jeor equation is a great way to assess your basal metabolic rate. You can look that up online and calculate that to get an accurate assessment of how many calories you should be consuming. And once you've decided that, then beyond the calorie level, we also want to be asking ourselves, am I eating an adequate amount of protein coupled with healthy fats? This is going to keep you satiated, which will prevent you from craving those quick hits of high energy from refined carbs and sugar. You also want to be cutting out industrially processed seed oils. I have a number of videos that go into this. I also have a lot of videos that talk about optimal sources of a nutrient-dense diet, including good sources of healthy fats and protein. One of them is linked above, and I'll also link them in the description box. And then another great activity-based way to release visceral fat is through sprinting. So if you're at a place in your cardiovascular fitness where you can do this, a couple sprints, even just once a week, can go a really long way to helping release visceral fat. And then number 3 is the cause that most people jump to when they see belly bloat, which is that your gut might be inflamed. And this may be due to chronic inflammation, which is often caused by some of the things we discussed earlier, a diet high in refined carbs and sugar. But there can also be other things that you're consuming that could be aggravating your gut lining. When this is the case, loading up on fiber and prebiotics can sometimes be the worst thing that you can do because it can actually irritate the gut even further. Some common aggravators are gluten, pasteurized dairy, legumes like beans and raw veggies, especially from certain classes like FODMAPs, which are short chain carbohydrates that some people find irritating to their gut. Some examples are onions and garlic, as well as nightshades like tomatoes and eggplants, which inhibit mineral absorption. They can actually cause inflammation for some people more than others. So most plants will have defense chemicals that basically help them to survive, that prevent them from being eaten. And so when they move through your body, they will put up a fight. And this can be problematic for some people more than others. And so you want to bring awareness to how you feel when you eat certain foods, especially the ones that I mentioned. And then once you've identified what is a trigger for you in your gut, then take a break from those foods to let your gut heal. It's not that you're eliminating these foods from your life forever. We just want to take the time to allow the gut to build back up stronger, and then maybe we can introduce some of these. A great way to strengthen the gut lining is to consume something like bone broth, which contains glutamine. And if you have a histamine intolerance, sometimes bone broth isn't the best option. So in that case, you can supplement with glutamine. And the other great thing about bone broth or collagenous material or glutamine as a supplement is that it also produces short chain fatty acids. So a lot of people will cite resistant starches from plants as producing short chain fatty acids that are beneficial for the gut microbiome. But collagenous material, skin, fat, bone broth also produces short chain fatty acids. And so you're benefiting the gut microbiome in addition to strengthening the gut lining. And then number 4 is a cause that we actually don't need to do anything to try and quote unquote fix because it's a natural part of our body's rhythms. For people with a menstrual cycle, the luteal phase, which is the week leading up to menstruation, during the middle of that luteal phase, the body will release inflammatory cells called prostaglandins to help prepare the uterus for the contractions that will shed the uterine lining during menstruation. And when that happens, there can be a low level of inflammation in the gut, which can cause bloating, some level of bloating. And so you can just let that happen. It's just a natural part of our body's processes. Trying to suck in your stomach is just gonna cause unnecessary stress on the body, and it's gonna disrupt these beautiful and life-supporting mechanisms. The luteal phase is a lovely opportunity to slow down and rest. Progesterone is at a high in the middle of it, other hormones are low, and your body is naturally wired to seek comforting experiences. For myself, I actually structure my workouts and my fitness routine around my menstrual cycle. So during my luteal phase and in the first few days of menstruation, I'm not working out very much at all. So the next time that you notice belly fat or belly bloat, look at your body through the lens of love. Ask your body what it needs and see which of the root causes that we talked about in this video might be at play. If you want more support with this, a great resource is our Superhuman Health Masterclass, which gives you a comprehensive roadmap to becoming the most thriving version of yourself in mind and body. The link to that is included in the description box. Anything that you notice about your body is an opportunity to love it more, whether that's by changing your health practices to address your body's needs or by embracing your body's natural rhythms. If you found this video valuable, feel free to like it and to share it with other people who may benefit. And if you want to learn about more ways to support your mind and your body, then feel free to subscribe to this channel. Lots of love, and I'll see you in the next video.